Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L and now let's talk anime couples. It's Pair Spotlight, everyone, where we talk about anime couples because that matters. I mean, yeah, I'm partial to it. It's fun trivia. Anyway, unlike the regular one, we're not talking about why people ship it. We're talking about the little details that you may not have noticed. This is Pair Spotlight Profile. I think that's what I'm going to call it. The point of it is just to walk through what's already established and point out some cool little tricks that the author is doing or some cool little details that the author put in. If you are a My Hero Academia fan and you're like a super fan and you read the manga and you check out the volume extras, chances are you already know this information. But if you're the anime only viewer, you only watch the anime, this is the video for you. It'll give you a few little details that you can kind of sink your teeth into. So without further ado, here's the couple of the hour coming in from My Hero Academia, the Bakugos, Masaru and Mitsuki, parents of Katsuki Bakugo, or the main rival in My Hero Academia. Anyway, let's just start talking about them and talk about the most quirky thing about them that most people would wonder: their quirks. So Mitsuki's quirk is glycerin. She sweats the chemical substance glycerin. The glycerin is the reason she looks so young, and that's because glycerin is a natural moisturizing agent. It's used to treat dry skin and deal with minor skin irritation. Since she sweats it, she stays in excellent condition. One thing to note though is that she secretes glycerin from all over her body, like it's in all of her sweat. So the next question to ask is, who contributed that limitation to Katsuki? And then we go into good old dad. Masaru's quirk is called oxidizing sweat. The sweat that he secretes from his palms is acidic and has combustive explosive properties. Now there are a few differences from his son's variation of this quirk. For instance, with Masaru, he can't really control it the same way that Katsuki can. His sweat just comes out like normal sweat. There was even a little note to compare him a little bit more to Ashido, even though I would say Ashido is still a bit more specialized than good old Masaru is. Anyway, it's like normal sweat, but if Masaru was to rub his hands together and slam them together, he could make an explosion. But already, when you compare him and his son, you see that Masaru has a bit more of a limited application to his quirk. The final thing to note though is that with Katsuki, those two quirks came together. While his mother does have a nice advantage in that she can sweat a special substance all over her body, it all came together and made a focus type quirk that was more powerful than what his father originally had. Moving on now into names. Mitsuki's name roughly means shining self. This is a reference to her quirk. Since her quirk is based around secreting an oily substance that is good for skin, you have shining in the sense that you glisten when you sweat, and you have shining in the sense that you look amazing because of the healthy skin. Masaru's name means victory. I mean, he's technically winning at life. He has a wife who chased after him and a healthy son, and he achieved the victory Endeavor could only dream of. More on that later though. On that note, their background, how they met. Masaru wanted to be a hero once upon a time, but he also liked design, so he ended up picking that one. And when you consider how limited his quirk was, it maybe wouldn't have been the most easy career path otherwise. On that job, he met a wonderful young lady named Mitsuki, and Mitsuki went after him aggressively. A rare example in anime couples of the girl being the initiator and not taking no for an answer, and actually landing the guy and making a happy family. Like, that's kind of rare. Actually, they're sort of a happy family. The Bakugos, while having some flaws, are still trending towards positive, but their family dynamic connects to another family in Hero Academia, the Todorokis. Did you know that the Bakugos are connected to the Todorokis through contrast? It's actually kind of subtle and involves looking at both the products of the marriages Katsuki and Shoto, and also looking at the way the parents interact. The biggest connection is that Katsuki is the product that Endeavor was chasing. See, Endeavor wanted the perfect product that was the perfect combination of two quirks. He got into a marriage specifically for that and succeeded on the 4th attempt with Shoto. The Bakugos, however, married out of legitimate love and got the perfect combination of both of their quirks on the first try, so to say. The overall concept contrast is that while Todoroki's engineered, the Bakugos just happened, and it carries through with the kids. Bakugo didn't need special grooming, he was just naturally amazing, while Shoto had to be specifically groomed. And this adds a little bit more of a funny connection to Masaru's name, meaning victory. It's definitely victory in the sense of like, this is what Endeavor wanted, and that's it's an interesting way. I think it's an interesting way to think about it. Anyways, both families are dysfunctional, but while one family's dysfunction is based around neglect, the other family's dysfunction is based around that they yell at each other too much. The isolation drives the Todoroki family apart, but in the Bakugo family, we see that the yelling can be positive, such as when Mitsuki yells at her husband to be more assertive. It's pretty much quiet versus loud, with the interesting twist that the loud ones are better off, and the Bakugos are generally good at subverting expectations with their family dynamic. On that note, there's one more interesting note about the Bakugos that I want to note. They are aware of a problem with their current society. The Bakugos provided a breath of fresh air when they told Aizawa that they wanted Katsuki to keep going to UA. The reason cited being that UA believed in Bakugo and saw what their kid was really about. And then they went on to talk about what created Bakugo's personality, that being society as a whole put him up on a pedestal. Quirk society naturally idolizes anyone that has a flashy, impressive quirk, and when you have people constantly telling you you're amazing, that will warp your view. For the parents, they couldn't really reel in Katsuki, and he just quickly got out of hand. I mean, what were they gonna do? Tell him he isn't that great when society at large is telling him otherwise, and like he is also doing great at school and everyone believes that he's gonna have a great career. This was a really interesting case of societal praise messing a child up, and was made more interesting by the fact that the parents were aware it was happening, were able to see the negative consequences, but were ultimately unable to fight against it because there was nothing going wrong enough to use it as an example to calm the kid down. So with that, those are pretty much the bigger points. So let's end off the video with smaller points. Katsuki's name is made up of the letters or kanji from his parents' name. Mitsuki, she personally enjoys volleyball. His father enjoys classical music, a very big departure from what you would assume that the other two like. The couple is the proof and concept for the Bakugo Ochako ship. People wonder how Bakugo could work in a relationship with any woman, but with his parents you have an example of how a loud person could get along with a meeker person. In regards to the behavior, we have this nice little drawing that the author gave us of the two parents. And one thing to point out here with the body language is that Bakugo's father, the way he's holding his neck, usually the neck is a place of vulnerability. Holding your neck implies a sense of unease, of fear. And not only that, you look at his arms and he's, closed off. Usually crossed arms means you're kind of putting a barrier between you and the world. But then you zoom out a little bit and you realize he's staring at his wife, and his wife is just kind of looking ahead, like almost as if she's about to be really annoyed, almost as if she's just kind of waiting for a moment to just blow up, and the man looks terrified. So props to the author for drawing this. Like, the body language perfectly captures the dynamic between these two. You have one who is apprehensive and you have the other who's just waiting to blow up. Finally, there is one more interesting note in that the Bakugos were totally okay handing off their kidnapped kid, as opposed to Izuku's mother's reaction to handing off her own injury-prone child. In the episode, she was the one that was dissenting. Contrary to what you would think, you would have thought that maybe the parents of the kidnapped child would be dissenting. But ultimately, it just made for a very nice contrast within the episode that it happened. And the episode itself does tie those two families together through that contrast. Anyway guys, that's pretty much it. The quick little walkthrough for the Bakugo family. I hope you enjoyed it. Overall, I like this couple a lot. I think they bring some pretty interesting ideas to the table, and I really like Bakugo's dad. I think he's hilarious. Even though we have barely seen him, but even just a little bit we got, I find it funny. Anyway guys, do you enjoy these guys? Let me know down below. And yeah, let's leave it there. Till next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.